What are you convinced people are pretending to enjoy? The NBA. It's so damn boring now, almost every time the ball is in play, there's a foul called. Every time someone blocks a shot, foul. Every time someone plays the tiniest amount of defense, foul. Every time someone makes eye contact for too long, foul. Like, what the hell is the point of watching anymore? It's just a bunch of giant men, sweating and shooting free throws. I believe people who claim they love watching it still, are just hoping that it goes back to the golden age where games were actually exciting and gave you something to look forward to every week. American talent shows like quite literally America's Got Talent, and American Idol. Who the fuck are these shows catered to? The dialogue is cheesy, idiotic, and fake as fuck, and the structure doesn't make sense. Back then it had categories and the contestants would compete against their own groups, which at least made it somewhat interesting. Now? Anything fucking goes, and you could have a wannabe Jud Wacky dance group of about 20 people versus little Timmy playing a harmonica with his asshole. It makes no goddamn sense. Olive Garden. You are telling me you're okay with paying $18.99 for white sauce pasta that you could make exactly the same way for $3.99 at home? Delusional. I used to be like this, and then I realized that buying pasta from national chains was falling for a scam. General Mills owns Olive Garden. They're the stakeholders in the US pasta industry. Learning that I was being manipulated by GM with the sweet allure of breadsticks made me become very radicalized against mega corporations and capitalism. I would say live concerts of big artists. Yes, it's a wonderful experience if you can get past the ridiculous ticket prices, the bad seats, annoying parking fees, social anxiety of being in tight quarters since COVID and mass increase in gun shootings. And best of all, the artists don't even sing most of their hits, they let the audience sing their songs. Why pay to hear a bunch of randoms butcher the tunes you spent rent on? Tons of pros OFC to attending, but this is too much now. Any IPA or similar beer that's loaded with hops. I don't understand how bitter can be a palate preference for beer drinkers. Nor do I understand how you can appreciate the flavor of any brew with that much hops added. I think it's one of those things where beer snobs are pretending to like it, because all the rest of the beer snobs pretend to like it too, and nobody has the courage to speak up and go, guys, beer's not supposed to taste like this. Eating healthy. Okay, yes, my body feels so much better and I enjoy it that way. But no way in hell do I prefer to eat a chicken breast and salad over pizza, tacos, chips, cake, and ice cream. Also too, working out. Same thing, I enjoy how my body feels, and got a degree in kinesiology exercise science, so know how important it is, but it still feels like a chore going to workout classes even though I do enjoy them. I'd rather sit and relax. Movies with ambiguous endings. It is very difficult to pull off an ending that leaves the audience simultaneously satisfied and uncertain. Most of time directors fail at this and simply accomplish the latter. When I point this out, you'll encounter a certain subset of people who want to pretend like they enjoy this confusion so that they can appear intellectually superior to the more honest among us. Avant-garde jazz music. The stuff that explores music theory more than caring about how it actually sounds. Anyone who listens to this stuff and spouts out things like "see what they did there?" or "I can't believe they paid homage to insert obscure name here" just needs to stop and admit they don't actually like the music. They just like to be pretentious about music. Someone explained this once and it made a lot of sense, so I'm gonna try, but it'll most likely be shitty. Loud music fills in awkward silences and covers up social faux pas in an environment where mixing and mingling is encouraged. It helps facilitate you hooking up with Jenny because she doesn't realize you're terrible conversationalists since the music covers it up. Commercial pop radio plays the same 5 songs every hour all day. They only play these very curated, completely predictable sets of songs. They take no risks musically and simply slam down people's ears what they have already decided should be pop hits. I would hate my favorite music if they played it as often as they play a Taylor Swift song today. Maintaining their jobs as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram personalities. I briefly had mild success with a channel on 10 years ago and it was nowhere near the level things are now. And I see the production value and the regularity of some of the content. And I just think how much pressure these folks feel to feed the machine or perish. Coffee or beer. I think everyone knows they both taste like shit, but no one wants to admit it because they think they are the only one that hates it. Anything that uses the term acquired taste, people just need to admit they fake liking it so they can fit in with everyone else that fakes liking it. Overly spicy food. Am convinced people either 1. Grew up with it and got used to the taste. 2. Think it makes you tough. X200B. It literally just ruins the taste of the food. I get somewhat spicy, but these ridiculous amounts some people like you can't convince me are good tasting. Percolated coffee. It's not uncommon for people to mention how great it is, but I know only one person who makes it and even he doesn't consider it best. It's just the way I've always done it and he likes the sound. It's kinda bitter, which I like but turns most off. It's challenging to generalize, as individual preferences vary greatly. However, some people might pretend to enjoy certain social activities, trends, or hobbies to fit in or conform to societal expectations. The extent of this varies from person to person. I feel like there's no way people take their first sip of beer and go, "Oh wow, what a pleasant drink." I've heard so many people say that you have to work at liking it and to appreciate its flavors. I don't want to work at enjoying a drink, lol. Reddit. It always makes me fucking mad and miserable. These same questions keep coming up on Ask Reddit and they're so obviously designed for maximum engagement, meaning divisive shit that get people arguing all the time. It's so dystopian. Getting on public transport, those loud ones that don't care if you hear entire conversations. There should be a basic rule on public transportation that no one should be allowed to talk to, especially to the driver while he's working. Watching football. Men just want an excuse to hang out together and not be weird about it, and having a few beers while watching the game together is that excuse. I'm glad they have that. But American football is a boring sport. Emo. What's not to love about a movie that's longer, has less expression, changes the original ending and message, features actors that can't really sing, and only exists to remind you of a better film that came out 25 years earlier. There's a girl I work with who IF29 bot thought was my age and childless for almost a year. We just chatted like people, then one day she randomly mentioned her son and I learned she is 42, and married, with 2 sons. At some point, if you have enough of a following, the amount of time you spend making content is very likely more than a full-time job. I imagine that even if it's content you enjoy, you'd get burned out really fast. I think for a lot of my life I was convinced a lot of the masculine hobbies were just mandatory and that no one really liked them. But then I grew up and realized that most people aren't that contrived. Anything that involves audience participation. People who said they don't want to be there suddenly start running to the front of the room like they're the next contestant on The Price is Right. Champagne. It takes the skin off your teeth. X200B. Expensive whiskey. No one can tell the difference between whiskey, brandy, bourbon. Stop kidding yourselves and drink vodka and coke. Having constant drama at work, in friend groups, and elsewhere really can't be all that exciting. Can it? If I have one friend causing me too much drama I usually avoid it like it's the plague. Christmas Day. Let me elaborate. I think the run-up to Christmas is actually better as there are no pressures into seeing everyone and you can eat a hot chocolate and mince pie in peace. Embarrassed smiley face. Beer, especially lagers like Budweiser. I'm from St. Louis and it sometimes feels like a sin to not like Bud, but I'm pretty sure they only drink it because of the pride aspect. Diets. One of my old co-workers was a Weight Watchers member for life and told me how great it was. I'm not convinced being on a diet for your whole life is enjoyable. Playing tag with a 4-year-old. You have to let them win all the time to not make them cry. You have to run really slow and you have to look like you're enjoying it. Playing tag with a 4-year-old. You have to let them win all the time to not make them cry. You have to run really slow and you have to look like you're enjoying it. Bars and restaurants with loud music and terrible acoustics. What's the point in being social in a place where they're trying to make it hard for you to socialize? A lot of highbrow stuff like ballet, opera, symphonies, modern art exhibitions, etc. are places to be seen, network, rather than things to enjoy. For many attendees, exercise. I think some people really do enjoy it, but many don't, but say they do. I absolutely hate every second of it and I've been doing it for decades. Reaction videos. Why would anyone care how a stranger reacts to something? Most of the time, the reaction isn't even real and just played up for the camera. Reaction videos. Why would anyone care how a stranger reacts to something? Most of the time, the reaction isn't even real and just played up for the camera. The rise to being a success social media star. I can't imagine a person enjoys filming themselves in public whilst acting like an attention-seeking doofus. Avocados. You always see them with art on something else, so they must, inherently, not good by themselves. I think we're all just kidding ourselves. Socializing. I know that's a very Reddit answer, but serious, I'm always happiest and most content by myself because there's no BS to put up with. Life, we all know it's too expensive everywhere. How could that be soothing or relaxing knowing we all struggling in every way, especially mentally? Fear-based news, which is the bulk of our news here in the States. It's not enjoyable, everyone's a miserable person who consumes it. Really, really, really stinky artisanal cheese. Or that cheese with the rind that is literally made up of nothing but pooping bugs. Taylor Swift. I swear, I'd rather hear an entire concert where every instrument is a chalkboard, and every musician has nails. Anything that involves taking as many pictures as possible before deciding that one is good enough to post on social media. Smoking marijuana. It smells like a burning pile of dog shit that's been put out by squeezing the juice out of a dead skunk. Coldplay. That band is so fucking awful. There is no way in hell anyone with the ability to hear actually enjoys their music. Beer with an extreme amount of hops. Please stop with the IPAs, I just want my grocery store to stock some decent stouts. Yoga. It's the fucking worst. Also, you can't breathe with your heart, you fucking psycho. That's not how anatomy works. Podcasts where the hosts just laugh at everything the other host's guests say. Nothing is that funny for that long, dude. Podcasts where the hosts just laugh at everything the other host's guests say. Nothing is that funny for that long, dude. Podcasts where the hosts just laugh at everything the other host's guests say. Nothing is that funny for that long, dude. Having your ass eaten or eating ass. It feels okay, but Terry's other places I'd rather me or my partner put their tongue. Albums that are more than 55 minutes long. Overt prog metal and stuff like that, and also hipster metal, sludge, stoner,